I would like to invite now Dr. Fadi Asrawi to deliver Haigazian University's faculty message. Dr. Asrawi is the Dean of the Faculty of Business Administration and Economics at Haigazian University. He has received his bachelor's degree in economics from the American University of Beirut and his master's and PhD degrees in economics and public policy from the University of Southern California, USC, in Los Angeles, California. Dr. Asrawi has worked as a consultant to the World Health Organization in the field of healthcare economics and a consultant to the International Labor Organization in labor economics. He has published many articles in the well-known journals in the field of inventory control, microfinance, and small and medium-sized businesses. Dr. Asrawi will be the moderator of today's conference debate. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Asrawi on stage.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Minister Nazarian, Your Excellency, Mr. Mkhaybir, Mr. President, Mr. Makhzoumi, we thank you all for coming today to Haigazian University. And on this we're celebrating our 61st anniversary this year. So this is a good thing for us to host such an event. Oil and gas in Lebanon. It should be good news, right, to all of us. Because it's commonly believed that the industry's activities generate and sustain jobs, income, and output. The industry provides substantially to gross domestic product, and through various measures of taxation, the industry provides many localized citizens with many benefits. The economic impact of the oil and gas sector is usually divided into three parts. There is a direct impact, which is measured in terms of the jobs, labor income, and value added of the sector. There is an indirect impact that goes through the supply chain of the oil and natural gas industry. And finally, there is an induced impact resulting from household spending of labor and proprietors' income, either directly or indirectly from the oil and natural gas industry's spending. We refer this as the multiplier effect. The benefits spill over into the general economy in many ways. If you think about the role of oil in your life, it's not only the primary source of many of our fuels, but it's also critical to our lubricants, chemicals, synthetic fibers, pharmaceuticals, plastics, and many other items that we come into contact every day. If you think about the law, accounting, engineering firms that serve the industry, the pipe, the drilling equipments, and other manufactured goods, you think about the large payrolls and their effects on consumer spending, you will begin to get a picture of the enormity of the industry and what Lebanon has been missing for the last couple of years. Prior to 1980s, academic research showed that the possession of natural resources is a major advantage to any country embarking upon a period of economic growth. Most mainstream economists during this period argued that this is a way to move from underdeveloped to an industrial nations, like what has happened, for example, in Australia, the United States, and Britain. So it was seen as a blessing for the nations that find these resources. However, after the late 1980s, it has shown that things have changed. Rather than a blessing, academic research has found that natural resources abundance is a curse. It increases the likelihood that countries will experience negative economic impacts, political and social outcomes, including poor economic performance, low levels of democracy, and civil war in some instances. This idea is now widely accepted amongst major financial institutions, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Today, we speak of a resource curse. The question is, will oil and gas in Lebanon be a blessing, or will it be a curse for us? Well, I tell you what, it all depends on good governance, one of the things that the minister has talked about. So it all depends on this good governance. Many perspectives, from behavioralist to rational actor to historical structuralist and social capital, have suggested that natural resource abundance leads to lots of emotional and irrational behavior on the part of political elites, in turn contributing to poor economic policy coupled with excessive government spending. They have suggested that the problem with natural resource abundance is not that it leads to irrational behavior on the part of political actors, but it provides them with an opportunity to line their own pockets by engaging in rent-seeking. Most scholars have suggested that members of the political elite are the main problem. When governments receive windfalls from a resource boom, rational political elites will take the opportunity to either directly seize the rents created by resource booms or gain control of the right to allocate these resources. So dependence on oil revenues lead to the emergence of what we call them petrostates, states that are geared towards the political distribution of rents, serving the interests of well-connected business groups rather than the common economic interests of the population. There's another problem of finding oil and gas, is that it makes this, especially for nations that are powerless nations, it makes them a target for dominant nations. And in the case of oil, the powerful nations will not risk letting a valuable resource fall under the control of an independent government that does not coincide with the economic interests of the great transnational corporations. The curse can be solved, as I said, through good governance. Today we have many solutions from good governance to do this. Government must ensure transparency. That's one of the main things. Government must ensure that it simplifies negotiations and tax structures with oil companies so that to mitigate what we call it the knowledge asymmetries between the oil companies and the government. Government should implement laws that include national content requirements for the goods and services that oil companies buy, or at minimum, they should provide a timetable for a shift from foreign to domestic sourcing. At the same time, governments should enact capacity building plans to ensure that domestic products and the producers are capable of supplying the skills, goods, and services that the oil companies require. The government should invest in building capacity at the administrative and tax revenues authorities to boost the knowledge of the petroleum sector and improve auditing and monitoring of the operations of the agencies and state-owned companies. This is a must. These are some examples of best practices. A lot of work needs to be done. And it is the driving force of you, our young generation, and in order to put the pressure on the government to ensure the success or failure of this very important sector to our economy. Thank you.